Keep putting in that work. Keep putting in that work. You know why? You were almost there. You were almost there. It's gonna pay off. It's gonna pay off. And they don't want you to know that. They don't want to give you.
What's good, Jag? It's your boy Cam, back again. Jag-Talk After Hours, and today, episode 4. And today I'm here with Jazz and Chris. And today we're gonna be talking about gender inclusion and scrutiny in sports. How you guys feeling today?
Feeling good.
I feel blessed, man. I'm grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, so today I just want to talk about what's been going on in the sports world when it comes to women and how they're being treated and where the problem is rooting from. I think this was speaking heavily on my heart when it came to the NCAA tournament and, you know, my views on it from a child. So my first question is, where is the disconnect in sports when it comes to including women?
I feel like women aren't taken seriously in sports. We're not looked at as dominant features compared to our male counterparts. I think that's one of the biggest things, that we're not looked at as like dominant. So when we do show that like we can hang with the boys, it's like, oh, what's Shawty got going on? What's wrong?
How you feel?
I think it's, I'm agreeing with Jazz in this one. I think it's the certain biological features as well, right?
So the root of the problem is starting way before, you know, birth, really.
Yeah.
So why do you think that?
I think because, hey, God made us differently.
Right.
You know, hey, some of us can lift heavy things, some of us cannot lift heavy things, man or woman. And, you know, we just have to get to the root of that problem, which really was the cause of that.
Right. And I think, you know, growing up, you know, come from a household with different women, strong personalities, and they, you know, sometimes they can keep up, sometimes they can't. And I think that's where the disconnect happens in the sports world, and it starts from there. So I want to ask you, Jazz, how you feel that it can be better going forward.
I would say that there shouldn't be a boundary. We should stop looking at she's a female. Like, we got females who are in the game who are doing better and have better stats than the males. So I think that should stop the boundary, stop the line, because at the end of the day, I'm putting 20 more points up than your male counterpart, and you got way more money than I do.
And look at this as well. Caitlin Clark.
We're going to talk about that as well.
She's the men's scorer in NCAA history and the women's scorer. 34.1 points.
Hasn't been done before. It hasn't been done before her.
It hasn't, bro.
That's
and
crazy.
We kind of see a shift in men's sport. We see at the women's tournament, the Elite 8 was about 12.3 billion people that watched it. The men's was like 10.9.
And I think those numbers also beat out like some of the NBA Finals games, Super Bowl. Like, it's crazy to think like that was a women's led game, you know, coaching also.
But I think that's also with that we've seen in the past year with Angel Reese showing that like I can talk trash too. And I think people are messy. Like, we like when somebody can go back and forth, especially like you watch a man say, "Oh yeah, I'm bigger than you, and I'm like postering you." I'm a female. If I say a female dunk, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go crazy.
And I think that goes into play as when you do, you know, talk your stuff as a woman, you get scrutinized even more. And I think that's also where it comes from with the Angel Reese aspect, that she's so herself and she thinks about other black girls coming behind her and wanting to do better things. So I do want to ask, why do you feel that women are criticized or scrutinized in this industry?
Again, it's the whole girls are supposed to be feminine. They're told to sit down, be quiet, look pretty. But it's like, okay, if I want to talk my stuff, if I know what I'm talking about, I'm going to back it up. No questions asked.
I also think there's a certain fine line for that, because dealing with Angel Reese, being a black woman, being a opinionated woman as well, she's scrutinized. She's saying, oh, okay, she doing the most. She can't do it. You can't see me sign to Caitlin Clark. But she did the same thing though. This only happening because she's black.
So do you think this is a race thing more than a gender thing?
I do.
Yeah.
Why do you say that? Is it more than what's on the court and more off the court?
I believe it's both, because like just dealing with Angel Reese, dealing with LeBron James, there's a certain code of conduct that you have to live by.
Yeah.
And being a black person, if you make a mistake, you're scrutinized. Look at Rasheed Rice. He made a stupid decision, but he's still gonna be scrutinized regardless.
Because of his color.
Yeah.
And it's also like, Angel, she's a black woman. Black women, anytime we're passionate about something, we're looked at as angry or we're doing too much. So it's woman aspect, but it's also being a black woman is much harder, especially being an athlete in a space where you're not looked at as dominant and you're black. Like,
yeah, I think even because we all come from families with strong black women in them, and they're scrutinized in their line of work. So imagine you were on the big stage and you're an athlete. Like, that is 10 times more the pressure.
And then you can also think about this, guys, mental health. The mental health toll of just being in the spotlight, being a black woman, being LeBron James, having a certain standard that you have to live up to at a young age.
I like that you brought up mental health, but going back to Andrews, do you think with the feedback that she's getting now, like she's saying she's going through a lot? No, she probably is going through a lot, but it just seems like before when she was winning, it wasn't as big of an issue, but now since she just lost, it's the biggest talk.
I think I can kind of get into that. When the press conference came out, it was like, she can't accept the villain role and then all of a sudden you can't cry about it. No, that's not true. Everyone's human. And I think as mental health is concerned, we don't think about that when it comes to the athlete, but at the end of the day, they're human. At the end of the day, she's a black woman. Like, that is the most scrutinized person on the planet. So when it comes to her being a black woman and an athlete, that's end of both worlds. She could be doing God knows what, but she's in the community, on the court, off the court, doing amazing things. And I think that goes, they don't look at her as human, and I don't agree with that.
I think it's a certain type of what other people do, a certain type of ignorance, right? Okay, Caitlin Clark, she's feeling like, okay, she lost. This is the end of the world. But when Angel does it, everybody's like, okay, here it goes again, the Bayou drama queen.
Bayou Barbie.
Yeah.
I don't know if Caitlin, if she had lost that game, and she would have done what Angel did, that it would have been scrutinized as she did, because she's also going into the draft and she announced it. And she did Vogue, and now it's like, oh, I don't want to be sexualized, but you are being in Vogue. No, we're as a woman, y'all are already sexualized walking out the door. So it's like you get in Vogue, now all of a sudden, you sexualize somebody. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Even in high school, like I know from my high school, they tried to gear away from sexualizing girls, like. The shorts to wear, like girls, we wear our shorts differently than a guy will. A guy will wear the shorts baggy. Girls, we like kind of let it tighter, like it to show our body a little bit. But I think it's also, she's saying she doesn't want what she looks like to interfere with how she plays.
So basically, like, let the game speak for itself.
Yeah.
No matter what race, gender, whatever.
Yeah, because even if you watch the NFL, you see them people who are on the bench wearing $1,000 suits. Now you on the bench. I see you in the same seat as me, but you wearing $1,000 suit walking in the hallway. Yeah. That don't make sense.
And now the topic of opportunities. I also want to talk about NIL deals now. Yeah. Do you feel as though, I'll start with you, Chris. Do you feel as though women don't get as many bigger opportunities in the NIL world than men?
I do, man, because I feel like just going into like the WNBA, their average salary is like $1,000 to $2,000, and they have to go overseas for that. And I feel like the reason for that is because, hey, the sexualization of women. Hey, women can't do what men do, so let's pay them less. So that's really my take, bro.
Yeah, I think the WNBA, if we're conjoining both worlds, you know, and we talk about the Juju Watkins of the world, and we talk about Angel Reese,
Paige Buckers.
you know, we're talking about NILs that they're able to make money way before they hit the WNBA.
Yeah.
Because you said, like, it's been in history that they are criminally underpaid. And so the NIL deal allows them, in my opinion, to get what they're worth while they're in college. But I don't think they have the same opportunities as men.
I'm gonna say that as well, but I also like look at Paige Buckers, look at Caitlin Clark making $3.1 billion, and look
In
at
NIL
the
deals? In NIL deals?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
look at the WNBA players. I feel like as though that's gonna cause some jealousy. 'Cause yeah, these kids, they started in like 2020 and they're making a lot of money. Who doesn't want a piece of that pie?
True.
I think that NIL deals should definitely keep going, but I think they need to advertise more in HBCU world. I feel like they're not as looked at and don't get the same opportunities as like our Southern females. Basketball team, they won their conference, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't get the same opportunities as LSU did across the, and that just runs the railroad. It's like, okay, well, we're doing the same thing. We want the same thing. Mine's is a little differently, but it's like I'm not getting the same opportunity as the schools that are bigger than us.
And I think it's important to see that, you know, these women speak up, because there are people out there that do care, and there are people that, you know, will be behind you and support. I just think that it's become such a comfortable situation, because they're like, oh, well, we're undervalued, so we won't say anything. No, I think, you know, speaking up and speaking for what you feel deserve, that you earn, that you need to earn, I think that's most important.
You feel like with the implementation, I don't know if I'm using this right, but with the adding of Paige Buckers, Juju Watkins, Angel Reese, y'all feel like that's helped women, well, as a whole in college? Or do y'all feel like it's kind of just, I don't know,
I think,
comfortable?
speaking of the money, I think it helped, honestly. It's showing the whole thing, like a girl can play ball just as hard and just as skilled as a boy. And you're gonna watch me more than you're gonna watch a boy, because you just see me flip my hair, do TikTok dance.
Yeah, I think specifically Juju, specifically Paige, you know, I was talking to my boys the other day, they're just like, bro, they could go play at the rec with both of us and go crazy, you know? They play the game, if not the same, better than men. And it's like a old childish mindset to not believe that, oh, maybe a woman is better than me at this. Maybe they are more skillful. You know, and some aspects of basketball is not physical, you know? So
mental,
exactly.
Psychological.
So it could be a number of things as to why a woman would be better. So I do want to ask now, with the adding of, well, not Juju, but with the adding of Paige, Caitlin Clark, and Angel Reese next year in the WNBA, do you feel like they'll get more coverage?
I think that depends on the WNBA. Because you can have stars. Look at Sabrina Ionescu. She was the earlier women's, I guess, scorer, 1,000-point scorer.
Superstar, yeah.
So, but she didn't really get like the coverage that she needed. Look at Brittany Griner. She was the first to really dunk in a WNBA game, or just the NBA game at that. She didn't get the coverage until like later on, until she was like in Russia because of the crime of the CBD oil. So it's so important that the WNBA builds around Caitlin Clark, builds around Angel Reese.
How do you suggest they do that?
Shit, hype, promotion, revenue. Like, you can't just have this star and you have this big blessing that God has given you, and then you push it away. You push it in the trash. You have to really build on that hype.
For me, I think they should change the scheduling. I read that they are going to start the season in May. Like, that's crazy. You know, rather than the NBA, you know, they're in playoff time by then. You know, I just find it crazy that the scheduling is so different that, you know, when people are into basketball, they need to be into basketball. Like, in WNBA needs to be on the same time as the NBA. I feel like even with the revenue, it wouldn't help unless you have both on at the same time.
You feel like if, let's just say, if the WNBA builds around Caitlin Clark, they will have more WNBA fans, or they'll just go back to watching the NBA?
I think they would have more fans just because of, you know, it's a click of a button to change the channel to, I don't know, ESPN to ESPN2. You're changing from the Lakers to, I don't know, the Dream. You know, it's just a click of a button. But if we have one season 8 months away from the other, it's hard to, you know, I don't want to say compare, but to uplift the other.
Or to follow the others.
I think it's a different field. I'll say that. Because high school and college, they play differently. That's a different field. And then now you're going pro. But I also think it's kind of like, I call it the prime time effect. Like when Prime was at JSU, everybody was watching JSU. Everybody was supporting HBCUs. But then when he left, everybody who was staying there, oh, JSU down, y'all bleed blue and red, whatever y'all are. Y'all left when you went to Colorado. So it's like, whoever their fans are, they gonna leave with them, or they gonna stay.
It puts everything.
So it's like a self-idolization that they're fan of Prime, that they're a fan of Caitlin, or you think they're just a fan of that person because they do something well?
I think it will affect. I also think it's gonna affect the schools because you're just gonna have, like, even though LSU they have prime players, like they have Flage and everybody else. But right now, everybody's looking at what Angel Reese is going to do, what Caitlin Clark is going to do. So when they leave, who's the next up? Who are they going to be like, oh, she just said you can't do this, you can't block me. Like, who's going to be that next person?
Yeah, it puts everything in perspective for sure.
Even like dealing with LSU, I think it's going to be Anissa Morrow, Flage Johnson.
Yeah.
But
next one's up.
But I think during that, it has to be that one special player that really catches the eye.
Yeah.
It can't just be somebody that's a role player. It has to be somebody. What makes you different? How much money am I paying just to see you? What can you do for me?
Last but not least, I want to ask: do you think women should get paid just as much as men? NIL and salary in the WNBA.
Most definitely.
Why do you say that?
Because we're putting just as much as, if even more work. Like, even with the womanly things that we deal with, like, we're still putting just as much time and effort into our skill. Even for, especially in the WNBA, you have people who are mothers. Being a mother is a full-time job. And you're asking me to be a mother, then play, then be married, and do all this other stuff, do promotion and stuff, but you don't want to pay me?
I think a couple of them actually played pregnant.
Like, yeah.
That's a lot of pain and suffering that you go through, and you're doing that while also playing the game. Like, that's nothing but commitment. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think it's basically like, it's going to be kind of controversial, but I don't know. Basically, it's kind of like slave labor. Like, basically, okay, so I'm doing all this work for 25 cents.
Okay.
But like what Jazz said, like, there's mothers that are pregnant. They're going through different situations where they need to be paid for their work.
I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Jag-Talk After Hours. I'm your host, Cam. Anybody want to say anything?
I'm Chris Williams.
And make sure to tune in SouthernU_OSM on Instagram for more updates.
Keep putting in that work. Keep putting in that work. You know why? You were almost there. You were almost there. It's gonna pay off. It's gonna pay off.